2025. I am one of your hosts here on Nordic 97, joined by my other host, LeBlanc James. LeBlanc, how we doing?
We doing good. We're doing good, but we're ready to talk some hockey today,
Good.
Obviously.
We got a lot to talk about, a good amount. We are in that stretch where the playoffs are in like 2 weeks, April 19th. Or not 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Soon. April 19th is the first day with all the games, and we do have some news on that. But first off, we got yet again another season evaluation to start off this one. You guys liked the last one we did with San Jose, so we're going to do it again here with the Chicago Blackhawks, who were also eliminated from the playoffs last week on Thursday. And it's not a surprise, to be honest with you. We kind of expected it, but LeBlanc, as we said with San Jose, describe Chicago's season in one word.
Messy. I think we expected Chicago to take somewhat of a step forward, not this ginormous step, but maybe a small step towards maybe contending for that wild card spot. But instead, we got. I think it's almost as bad as last year, and they improved the roster significantly.
It feels like, I think we said this with San Jose. We said the on-ice product improved with the Sharks. It definitely got a lot better than what it was in the year where they were really bad. It didn't really seem like that with Chicago. It seemed like it didn't get worse. It just felt like it kind of stayed the same, and we didn't really see any steps to improvement as it goes for the Blackhawks. And then on top of that, you have the whole thing with Bedard and, the whole criticism around him. Oh, he's not a lead and all this stuff. And we're not here to get into just specifically Bedard. I'm sure we will at some point, but overall, this was a really big struggle of a year from Chicago. They did make some solid trades at the trade deadline, trading Seth Jones away, which we didn't really think they were going to be able to do, and they got that done. They obviously got Spencer Knight back in return. But overall, as LeBlanc said, it really was a messy season from Chicago. And again, I think we even said it in our last episode, this is like a very pivotal draft coming up for this team.
Yes, Chicago's got to nail. I'm going to be blunt. They have to nail this pick. Here's the thing. Last year, they had this is not discrediting Artem Levchinov. I think Artem Levchinov is a great prospect. He's going to be a great defenseman for the Chicago Blackhawks. But last year, I think the main thing was you need to get Bedard a linemate to help. And I think they had the opportunity to take a shot at Ivan Demidov.
Yeah, they did.
And they held back. They kind of took Levchinov, but now looking at this draft, they're the same as they were last year. They're still bad. And think about it. If you took Demidov last year, and then this year, if you got first overall, you can take Schaefer.
Yeah, puts you in a really good spot.
A guy like Radim Murka or Jackson Smith. I think Jackson Smith and Murka are on the same par as Levchinov. But my point is that last year they had a guy there for the future, Bedard and Demidov. That would have been sick. But now they have to nail us. And I really do think, in my eyes, you need to take a guy like either a Michael Misa, Anton Frondel, or a Porter Martone.
Yeah, I agree. I think you need to lean forward with this pick heading into the draft. Again, as you said, you had the opportunity of getting Ivan Demidov. You had the opportunity of getting literally any other forward that wasn't named Macklin Celebrini. I'm not saying that going down the road of getting Levchinov is a bad idea. I'm not saying it's bad, but you definitely could have made out better, I think, if you got Demidov instead of Levchinov for sure.
Yeah.
It would have changed a lot of narratives with Chicago for sure.
Yeah, Chicago went for the safe pick, and Levchinov is a very safe pick. He's going to be a good, I would say number two. I'd say number 2 or number 1 defenseman in the NHL.
Yeah.
But this summer, I look at Chicago this summer. You need to improve the roster again. I don't want to say it again, because last year they had nobody. They were bad. It was Bedard and guys. This year you had guys. You had guys like Bertuzzi, Teravainen. You brought in guys like Patrick. I don't remember who's not an impact player, but we got good vets like Patrick Maroon in. Who else did they bring in? I'm trying to think of forwards they brought in.
They brought in Bertuzzi, Teravainen, Maroon. On the back end, they brought in Martinez, Laurent Brossoit, he never played. They brought in guys, and like, to be honest with you, on paper, the roster was better than last year, to
Yeah.
be honest, but the team didn't get a lot better, and that's the problem.
No, and I do want to say, like, bringing in those vets like Martinez and like Maroon was a good idea, and I think that's good for the
Absolutely.
room, the locker room. But like looking at Bertuzzi, and this is gonna sound maybe not great. Bertuzzi is not a number one winger. Bertuzzi's not a number two. I argue he's not even a number two winger.
No, he's not. I agree with that. I mean, again, like, you acquired players who more or less are meant to be on this team for just, I mean, they're like meant to be on this team just to fill spots. So one thing that I want to say with the Blackhawks is I want to compare what this year has been to last year's standing. So last year, the Blackhawks were second last, as they are this year. They finished with a record of 23, 53, and 6 for 52 points. They had a .317 points percentage, 179 goals for, 290 goals against, minus 111 difference. This year so far, 21, 41, and 9 for 51 points, 193 goals for, 254 goals against, for a minus 61 difference. So, to be honest with you, the numbers are a little bit better. In terms of the goal differential, they're a little bit better. They're going to have a few more points than last year, unless if they go on a massive 10-game winning streak to end the year. They're likely going to end up with around the same amount of wins, if not a little less, if not a little more. Overall, again, like, it's a season where you didn't see much growth from anybody in terms of the standings. And again, that's what we said. Like, we weren't expecting that whatsoever. And what we were expecting was the on-ice product to improve, and we just didn't see that. So just looking forward with Chicago, again, we said that the forward position was the biggest thing. What are some other things that you think Chicago needs to nail out in the offseason or figure out here moving forward?
Well, I think I want to look at Laurent Brossoit. I know he signed him to play to be that starting goalie potentially. He didn't play. I know they recently, excuse me. They've recently gotten Spencer Knight, which is great for the future, but I still feel like they need to iron out a backup. Arvid Soderblom, he's inconsistent. He has some good games and he has some bad games, but I think you need to get a solid backup. I do feel like it's still the forward core is still not good enough. This is still forward core that needs to be addressed. And I don't want to say, like, you need everything, but you kind of need everything. I know they're doing a youth movement, and they have guys on the roster playing, like, you got Colton Dock, Wyatt Kaiser, Alex Vlasic on the back end, with Bedard and Reichel. Like, you need more vets.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think you need guys who, like, you can kind of keep there and then trade at the deadline. The Blackhawks signed players, really kind of didn't do that. Like, they signed all their guys to longer term contracts. Like, Bertuzzi's on a longer term deal. Teravainen's on a longer term deal. You should go out and get some guys who can be just rentals alongside Connor Bedard, and maybe they just, move those guys for picks later on, because you see a lot of other teams do that. We didn't see Chicago do that this year, and I definitely think that was a little bit of concern in terms of the fact that they didn't get that much assets back in return in a trade deadline where another team who was selling, like even San Jose this year, who sold and traded away some guys, still got a decent return back. So, I think that all of this, like, we can talk about it all right now, but it's all not going to change until the offseason. Like, we can go on and on about all this, but we're not going to really know for sure what the next direction, what next season. Well, we have an idea of what next season will be like for the Blackhawks. It's not going to be a good one, but we need to just determine if it's going to be a better season overall or kind of around the same. Like, I think they need to get better or else something bad could happen.
I'm going to say this. I feel like Chicago this summer is going to go big game hunting.
I agree. I think that they should go out and get somebody who is not like a, rental deadline player, as I just said. Again, I think they should go out and get a guy like that, but go out and get somebody who can be a younger impact player. Like, for example, and I'm not saying that they should go out and get this guy specifically, a player in the sense of Elias Pettersson, who was young who can provide you offense alongside Bedard, and will be there for the future, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
I was thinking about a guy maybe like Nikolai Ehlers.
Yeah, he's another example that I think would be good. Maybe like an RFA. Maybe go out and get an offer sheet.
Yeah, I think we're going to see it's a pretty weak free agency market this year. I could see a lot of offer sheets, but we're going to get into that later in the summer. So
Yeah, we are. I definitely think that is going to be something we're going to follow for sure as the playoffs roll on and the offseason gets through.
The one thing about the Blackhawks I want to mention as well, they say they like their youth movement like now, but like the reluctance to play the youth in the lineup was very evident, like early to mid season. Like I look at a guy like Frankie Nazar. Nazar should have been getting those minutes.
Exactly. I wholeheartedly agree. I feel like the criticisms with Luke Richardson at the beginning of the season was definitely a big factor in why they struggled out of the gate. I think Sorensen, the team has been better under him. There have been more younger players called up, like Colton Dock played NHL games. Again, Nazar. Almost as soon as Sorensen was called up as the coach, Nazar started playing regular minutes with Chicago. And as well as that, too, Lev Shunov got the call as well. I think a couple other guys also got call-ups, too, throughout the season because, again, Sorensen was the coach with Rockford in the AHL. So overall, it was just I definitely think that the second half of the year in terms of young guys coming in and making an impact was better, but overall, it was a really rough season for Chicago. Anything more to add?
Not really. Do you want to add that we're talking about future moves? They need to hire a coach.
They do. I wonder if they do keep Sorensen because I don't think he's done a terrible job.
I don't think he's done a terrible job, but I still think they're going to explore all options. Like they'll probably interview him for the job, but they're probably going to interview. They're going to do their due diligence.
Yeah, they're going to go out and look for other coaches that could help with that. But I feel like, they could really benefit from a younger coach who could mentor the younger players like through this rebuild because Richardson really isn't meant for that, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, again, I guess like, he wasn't bad in the first season, but you could clearly tell like this team's trying to rebuild. You can't have a guy who's likes the older players, doesn't like playing the young guys as you're leading.
But unfortunately, a lot of the older coaches are like that though. They're like they like the vets. They want to keep the guys who you know what I mean. Like it's the older coach mentality. Like I'm trying to think of like guys who are going to be hot commodities on the coaching market. I'm going to say somebody, and I think you might agree, may disagree, but you could see someone like maybe Jessica Campbell getting a shot in an interview.
Maybe. I mean, again, I think Campbell's done actually a decent job with Seattle this year. Again, it's hard to really gauge because Seattle hasn't been that good this year, but I think that overall, that would be a pretty cool story to see Campbell go from the assistant coach in Seattle to a head coach role as a NHL. It'd be pretty surreal, to be honest with you. So, yeah, overall, definitely a season of messy from Chicago, as LeBlanc said. Let's move on from Chicago here, unless you have anything else to bring up. The Washington Capitals have clinched a playoff spot in the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs. They're the first team to do so. They are leading by like a metric city mile than the Winnipeg over every other team. It's been an incredible year from the Caps. Describe in one word what Washington's season's been without making Washington fans mad.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. Just a phenomenal year. I mean, everybody is playing at such a high level. You see a guy like Dylan Strome, who Chicago, by the way, did an offer sheet. He's been a consistent 70-point scorer since leaving the Blackhawks with Washington. Connor McMichael lit it up. Alexi Protas has been unreal. And then the whole Ovechkin story. It's all in all been just an incredible year from Washington. And what's crazy is, too, all of those guys are relatively young, besides Ovechkin, obviously. And it shows that, like, this may not just be like a fluke of a season. Like, this might be like something we see moving forward with Washington.
Yeah. Now coming into the year, I think me more than you, had our doubts about Washington.
I did. But I wasn't saying that they were gonna they were gonna do what they're doing right now. I had them just outside of the playoffs looking in or just barely making it in. That's what I saw them as at best. To be honest, I just didn't know. Like I think I even said with all of those players that you meshed in together with all one another, it's hard to really gauge if that team's really just gonna go crazy right away.
And I don't mean to disrespect Washington or their fans, but you never know when a team this could be a flash in the pan. This could be the real thing, though. I'm gonna say this, I'm still not sold on Washington, even after this whole season. I'm not sold.
You're not the only one. There are a lot of other people who are a little bit hesitant over the Caps, which Caps fans just say, "Oh, you're a hater. You're a hater." And that it's not me being a hater. I'm just a little bit hesitant to go all in with a team that, after a couple of years of being meh, finally actually pops off and all of a sudden they're a cup team. I'm gonna put them in cup contender because they're first in the league. I think that's an easy thing to do. I would do that with any team that is first in the league. If Chicago was first in the league, I put them in cup contenders. We'd be living in a fantasy world. But I mean, I think that whenever you finish first in the NHL, and again, they're up there right now, whenever you see a team that absolutely balls out on the regular season when you didn't expect it, it just makes you a little bit worried about the playoffs, especially me. I think we've even brought it up too that
but Washington had a great year. They had a great goaltending. I think that's the number one thing to their success. They got great goaltending from Logan Thompson and Charlie Lindgren.
Yeah, absolutely. The tandem has been a huge positive. Thompson has lit it up this year after being solid in Vegas. Came to Washington for a second and a fourth or whatever, and has been absolutely unreal over there. I also think as well, noticing how Lindgren has, kind of from last year really had his breakout year to being that legitimate backup goaltender. They were both locked up to a $9 million total contracts combined. I think that's very good value.
That's very good value. I think they got good value on the back end. Guys like Jacob Chikrin living up to his potential in Washington. Then you have guys like Matt Roy playing good defensive hockey. And then you go to the nice forward core, the nice good forward that they added. You got Mangiapane in there. Some of the new additions include Brandon Duhaime. Then you have Strome. Like I said, Protest. He's not a new addition, but Protest is pretty good.
He's had his
the Michael breakout has been great to see. Tom Wilson hit 30 goals for the first time in his career.
Yeah, 100%. Who was I going to... Oh, Pierre-Luc Dubois has been somebody who has been a massive surprise. In his final year with LA, I remember talking about that year a lot because Dubois... Honestly, I remember that year where he had the thing with Rob Blake, where Rob Blake dressed up in Kings gear and went out there and practiced with him. And last year he had 40 points in a full 82 game season, only 16 goals. He has 40 assists with Washington this year. He has more assists this season than he had points last year. That just shows how unreal of an acquisition he's been. Since being a Washington Capital, and that was a huge risk at the time. I think people kind of forget that was a massive risk that the Caps were taking. I mean, you trade away Kemper, who wasn't great under Washington and ended up being really good under LA, which I think that shows that worked out as a really good deal. But at the time, it was a big risk for the Caps because you're getting a guy who was a year into his 8-year deal at how much money is he getting paid? 8.25 or something like that?
He's getting 8.5, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
It really isn't that terrible now that the cap's going up and all that, but still, it was a massive risk at the time, and it's turned out into a massive reward for Washington. He's tied his career high in points right now. So it's actually unreal how good Dubois has been.
Right situation, I think, you look at the past. Dubois has been labeled as this lazy player. This year, I think he's really saying, I think he really, stepped his game up. I think after being traded to Winnipeg, just showing he didn't really care, showing in LA, he didn't really care. And now, I think getting traded really lit a fire under his ass.
Yeah, I think it definitely like really woke him up because I think there were even discussions of when he was traded, like this is your last shot. Like if like you went from Columbus where you had that lazy effort to Winnipeg where you had that lazy effort to LA where you had that lazy effort. This is your last shot, your last final shot to prove yourself in the NHL. Otherwise, it might be a difficult path for you moving forward. And this year, he's really proven that to himself. And I mean, like again, I'm not going to say that like, oh, Dubois has been this like incredible acquisition and will be moving forward. Like again, I think that as a whole, I think for Dubois, he's likely. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's still 6 years left on that contract after this year, so we really can't say like for certain that oh yeah he's going to be good all of those years. But at least in this year, he's been very good. I also want to mention he has 61 points. Only 10 of them are on the power play, so he's a very good 5v5 scorer.
Yeah, that's good. In the playoffs, you're going to need that because I know that scoring is very important in this league. Yeah, I think Washington. I think it's an effort that everybody just clicked at the right time.
100%. And the team is just, it just looks like the team is absolutely rolling. We talked about at the Four Nations break where they had no players going to the Four Nations and all of those guys could rest up and they could get ready for the playoffs. And it seems like that's the path that we're going down right now. But again, with every first place team you see, there is that worry. And to be honest with you, like I think in terms of like you look at the Eastern Conference, it feels like to me I think they definitely get to the second round. Like they're going to play one of Montreal, Columbus, Detroit, the Rangers. Like I think they absolutely plow any of those teams in my opinion. I mean, maybe the Rangers put up a fight, or I'm not saying that like all those teams are going to lose, but I'm not ruling out the possibility of an upset. But I think that they easily get past the first round. Second round, they likely play Carolina. I don't know. I mean, if they get past Carolina, then they probably play one of Florida or Tampa. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that it's not impossible for Washington to go on a crazy run, but I'm not leaning on them as like my number one cup.
I'm putting their ceiling honestly at the conference finals. I think they can get to the conference finals. I think they can. I don't think they're going to get to the final though.
I think they can make the finals. I think a lot of it's going to come into depth and rest. Like, are they going to have the depth offensively and the guys on the blue line to push your way through those rounds? I think they can get to the finals. I have no doubt in my mind.
I also believe in the President's Trophy curse.
I believe in that too, and that is why. I mean, to be honest, they still haven't officially won the thing yet.
It's them and Winnipeg fighting for control, and I feel Washington's going to just take it.
Yeah, I think Washington's likely going to be the team that ends up taking it. And to be honest, if you're the Jets and you see that curse is there, I think you're like, hey, go ahead, take it. It's all yours.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, like I don't want to say that like, oh, they're going to lose in the first round and all this. There's been people who've been saying that. I'm not ruling it out because I'm not ruling anything out at this point. But I think it's more likely than not that they at least get to the second round, maybe the third round.
I think Washington has a shot. They definitely have a shot. They have a pretty good shot, but they're also, and they're very upset. They could get upset though. I'm not gonna say they're like we saw a Boston team that was the best regular season team ever not knock out of the first round, and that's
the best part about the playoffs. Anything can happen.
So, I'm gonna say if they bump into a team like Montreal, who right now, if you look at Montreal's playing, Montreal's hot. They're hot. The Rangers will give them trouble. If Ottawa somehow falls down to that second round, they're going to give them trouble too, I feel. It's not easy. I feel like Washington comes out on top in the first round. But, like, it's whoever gets it, it's not going to be it isn't going to be a sweep or a 5-game series.
I doubt it. I mean, I'm not saying that that's impossible. Like, again, like any team can get upset. I don't want to I'm not coming on here and saying, oh, they're going to get upset because they suck.
No, I'm not saying that either.
But I am a little bit concerned. Just a little bit. I'm not fully going in and being like, oh, they'll lose in the first round. If they play Montreal or any of those teams, I'm picking Washington.
Yeah, no, if they play Montreal, I'm picking Washington, but I'm saying there's a chance there. I want to put this very, very, very delicately noted. History will always repeat itself.
You're
A
not
couple
wrong.
years ago, I mean, this is like more than 10 years ago now, Montreal was an 8 seed, and they played the President's Trophy winning Washington Capitals, and they won the series in 7 games.
Yeah, anything is possible. Absolutely. So again, I'm not worried if I'm Washington. I think again, like they could easily prove us wrong. We'll look at this video and be like, man, we're idiots because we had a lot of videos like that on this.
We've
podcast.
been saying this for a while, though. We've been saying we're cautious about Washington, I think, since January.
Yeah, I mean, I am cautious about them, but I'm not afraid to still pick them to go far in the playoffs. I'm still not afraid. And I think what is cool about them too is like they have a bright future for years to come.
Ryan
This
Leonard,
isn't just a one-year thing.
Cole Hudson.
Yeah, Tariq Parasak, a couple of the guys on that roster, Ilya Protas as well. Alexei Protas is young. Like, I mean, the overall core that they've built now, like, I mean, Ovechkin, he's old. He's an oldie. John Carlson, old. Who else is on that team that is
getting up there in age?
Tom Wilson, yeah, getting up there in age. I mean, apart from those guys, like, the core is still relatively young. And I think that is a huge benefit there for Washington, seeing them play at this level. And I think that shows that for the next couple of years to come, like, they went from a team that, like, really didn't look like they had a great future to a team that now has, like, a solid future for the next, I would say, at least 4 to 5 years.
4 to 5 years, yeah. Washington, this could, here's the thing, this could be the start of something great, or this could be another tale of, damn, we couldn't get over the hump. It goes 2 roads there. It's either going to be, damn, we didn't go over the hump in the first 2 rounds, or we have a potential dynasty.
Exactly. So we'll see there what goes on in Washington. Any more to add on the Caps?
I think we overdid it on that one.
I'm taking Montreal in the first round. 4 games.
If they play the Rangers, I'm taking the Rangers, though.
I don't know. I would like to take the Caps, but, like, again, I think I even said in the Nordcast, like, I'm just worried, like, the Rangers are the only team that I'm scared of. Again, like, I know the Rangers, like, they might not even make the playoffs.
The Rangers right now look like absolute bad. Like,
just playoff Igor.
Playoff Igor is here, but, like, they're not shooting the puck.
Yeah. But it still isn't impossible that they go in there and they beat Washington. I'm not saying that. Yeah. All right. Anyways, moving on from that. So we talked about Montreal a little bit in that segment. The Canadiens have been on an absolutely insane run over the last couple of months. They were great heading into the new calendar year. They had a little bit of a point, like I would say, between like before the Four Nations break and right after it, where they kind of struggled. It was a little bit of a rough patch. And now at the tail end of the season, they're just red hot, coming off of a really good winning streak. They are 5-1-4 in their last 10, which, I mean, 4 overtime losses. It's not great, but I mean, that's 4 points that you get, and I think that's huge in the playoff race. They have 75 points. They are points ahead of the Rangers, the Islanders, the Blue Jackets, the Red Wings. They are 4 points back of Ottawa as well. It's been an unreal run from Montreal, especially over the last couple of weeks. I have been very engaged with how they have played. Just the whole story of, Suzuki and Caulfield playing unreal, Lane Hudson on the back end racking up points, and the whole thing with Brendan Gallagher with his mother passing and how this team has really rallied around that. Like, me and you have our opinions on Gallagher, especially you. My Flyers dealt with problems with him in the playoffs, but I would say you have more of a hatred towards Gallagher than I do.
Here's the thing. I hate Gallagher the player. I don't like Gallagher the person. I have no issue with.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's kind of how every NHLer is, to be honest. But yeah, I think it's overall been an incredible story. Seeing what's happened with Gallagher and this Canadiens team going on this run. They proved us wrong.
I think we said at the start of the year, I said they'd be bad, but they'd be very competitive. And I think we both said I wouldn't be surprised if they were in the contention for the wild card spot.
I think we did say that actually. So yeah,
Yeah.
toot our own horn there.
Regarding Brendan Gallagher, we give our condolences to the Gallagher family on the passing of his mother, who was very brave. She had I know she had brain cancer. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and
I'm pretty sure that's what she had.
and it's great to see the team rally around Gallagher, and it's been great to see. And but Montreal is, I think they have the best record since the Four Nations break.
One of the best records for sure.
But here's the thing: for how they're winning games, I've watched this team. I get Habs games regularly, so I do watch them quite a bit. Like, the way they win games, I don't understand. I just don't understand.
Yeah, I agree.
And like
they're winning these games. Like, I feel like a lot of the time they're winning them by they're getting outshot, they're getting outplayed at points, but comebacks.
And they just turn it on. Like they're outworking their opponent. That's how they're winning games.
Yeah, exactly. They feel like last year's Philadelphia Flyers, except at the tail end of the season where they're actually having legitimate success. So it's just really cool to see how they have really just rallied around this team as a whole. And I mean, again, I think a big part of it's got to go to, guys like Suzuki and Caulfield. Lane Hudson's been a big part in that. Again, on the blue line, if Hudson's not there, that blue line is trash.
Yeah, I'll take that one for sure.
As well as that too, Caden Gooley was practicing today with the Canadiens in a regular practice jersey, so they might get him back very, very soon.
That's big for them. Gooley's a pretty important part of their blue line.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, this whole entire run from Montreal has just been wonderful.
Montreal, I hate to say this because it's said to my eyes, the NHL is better when Montreal is good.
I agree. I
hate saying that. Like that.
Well, yeah,
literally, that makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, I totally
Montreal's
understand
an insane hockey city. They love their hockey. So, and Montreal crowd in the playoffs, you can't beat that. There's nothing that beats that.
Do you think they get in?
Yeah, I do. I think.
Do you think they are the last?
They'll either be the last spot or they'll be the first wild card. They're not getting to a divisional spot. I can't see.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'm asking, do you think they break in?
I think they get in. Yeah.
Really? I mean, to be honest with you, every team under them is just struggling.
Yeah, Columbus,
the Blue Jackets. Sorry,
Red Wings fell off. Jackets 1 point their last 7 games. The Islanders are surging though. They're surging.
That's the only team that's doing good right now.
The Rangers need to figure it out. I don't understand how you can't score.
The Rangers are just meh, to be honest. They aren't bad. They aren't as bad as the other two teams, but they are pretty. I'm gonna say
I think the Rangers don't deserve it. I think the Islanders could get in. The Jackets, they've slipped so far. They're only 4 points out, but they keep sliding down. And then,
to be honest, it's been unreal. They went from a team that was they were pretty clear in a spot. And this whole losing streak completely wiped them out of the race.
Which sucks because it would have been a great story to see Columbus in the playoffs, and I would prefer Columbus over Montreal in the playoffs, but it's just not going to happen. There is we got 12 to 11 games left in people's seasons.
Exactly. So I mean, for Columbus to do this, they have to win out first of all, and they have to hope that all the other teams.
And they need Montreal to start losing. They need Montreal.
That's very hard.
They need everyone to start losing, and I don't see that. I think Montreal is going to get in. I think it's going to be by a point. I think the Islanders are going to give them a good run for their money, though.
It's going to be a very, very, very close and very fierce finish for that last wild card spot. And I don't know. We'll have to see when it ends.
I'm looking at Montreal's schedule. They're on a road. They go on a road trip. They play St. Louis, Philadelphia, Carolina on a back-to-back. They're on the road against Florida. Then they play at home, Florida, Boston, Philly. On the road to Nashville, at home against Detroit, on the road against Ottawa and Toronto on a back-to-back, and then Chicago, Carolina in the year. I'm going to say this, that's a pretty favorable schedule.
Yeah, they have a way easier. In terms of you look at everybody who was in that race, Montreal has the easiest schedule of all of them. Like Detroit has the hardest schedule in the NHL. The Islanders have the sixth hardest schedule. Columbus the 11th. Rangers the 15th. Just like overall, like it seems like all of the odds, all of the cards are in Montreal's favor to get in here. It's just a matter of can they capitalize on it.
They need to keep don't let up. If you want to make the playoffs, you got to keep going. You're only a point ahead. That's not a lot. If they were in a situation like where Ottawa is 4 points above Montreal. They're 5 points above ninth in the East. That's not a comfortable cushion, but it's a nice cushion.
It's a better cushion than being 1 point back of like four other teams. So again, I think all the cards are in Montreal's favor to get in. It's just been an overall awesome story. Again, I don't know what they do in the playoffs, but I will say this too: if a team does end up tying them, it's regulation wins, right?
Yes, I believe it's regulation overtime wins.
So apart from the Rangers have more regulation wins than them. The Islanders have more regulation wins. The Red Wings have the same amount, and the Blue Jackets have less. So if it does end up being a tie, it better be against Columbus and Detroit. At least as right now.
Because I think the Rangers have the upper hand in the wild cards because they have so many regulation wins.
Yeah, if they keep racking up points and end up tying Montreal, they are the team that will get it.
Montreal goes to overtime a lot.
Yeah, especially recently. They've been going to overtime, racking up some overtime points, which is a good thing, but overall, it is something that you do have to look at. Anything more with Montreal?
No, that's all I got.
Let's move on to the Western Conference, where it seems like every team in that West wildcard race is surging except for Vancouver. More specifically, the St. Louis Blues, 8-1-1 in their last 10, 6 wins in a row. They have 81 points. They are now 4 points ahead of the Calgary Flames in that second wildcard spot. However, they have played more games than everybody else, so you better hope that your teams below you lose. But right now, the St. Louis Blues, they are hot, and they look like the favorite to get in. What do you think?
Paying attention to the Western Conference some more, because I just glanced at it when looking at the East, and I'm like, oh, wow, I did not realize they were 4 points above Calgary and 4 points behind Minnesota.
Yeah, they have a real gap. They have a real advantage there. But again, as I said, every other team has at least 2 games.
Calgary's got 3 games on them. Vancouver and Utah have 2 games on them.
Which will be 1 tonight because Utah is playing now.
Yes, they are. But yeah, St. Louis keeps going. They're not going to catch Colorado, but they could probably get the first wild card.
Yeah, they probably could. I think, again, like, that just shows. Like, I mean, the replacement of the coach, they looked a little bit mad there for a little bit, but it just shows when you get hot at the right time, you can go on a run. And that's what's happening right now with the St. Louis Blues. And as well as that, too, they're also in a really good spot in terms of scheduling.
I do want to say, we had a team 2 years ago look like meh the whole year and then get in at the last minute because they got hot at the right time. You know who that team was?
Who was it? Yeah, it was. I was also going to say Montreal, too.
Yeah, Montreal. Yeah. COVID year, Montreal got hot at the right time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to read off St. Louis' schedule because they have a very, very, very easy schedule, to be honest with you. They play Montreal tomorrow. If they can beat Montreal, like, that's a huge win for them. They get higher and higher above. Then they play Nashville, play Colorado. So 2 games there. Like, you could beat Montreal, you can beat Nashville. I don't know if you can beat Colorado. Then you play Detroit, Pittsburgh, Colorado again. You go on the road to Winnipeg, Edmonton, and then Seattle. And then to end off the year, you got Utah. And that might be a very pivotal game if Utah keeps winning games and gets right in there behind St. Louis.
So out of the remaining schedule, I see 4 games that are going to be kind of difficult. That's the 2 games against Colorado, Edmonton, and Winnipeg.
Exactly. The rest of the games, I think those are all very
winnable. And I don't mean to diss the other teams, but like they're winnable. And if you're bad, you're bad. Let's just cut to the chase. Let's go.
Yeah. All of the cards are essentially in their favor. I mean, Calgary, technically, they have an easier schedule, and so does Utah. But I think Vancouver, just seeing how like they have been, and they play Winnipeg and Dallas and Colorado and Minnesota
Pack it in.
each one. And then they play Vegas
Back
twice.
it in. Back it in. It's over.
It looks incredibly
unless Demko's back tonight. Unless Demko goes this insane mode and just dragging to the playoffs.
Well, right now they're losing to the Devils, 3-2, and they were up in that game. So, again, like if they lose tonight, I think you can pack it in.
Yeah, like playing Vegas twice, pack it in. Like
you can't be winning this. You can't be losing games like this.
I think we said it before. The downfall's got to be studied.
It does. It's been absolutely terrible in Vancouver. But going back to St. Louis, the rise needs to be studied. Just how this team's played has been just incredible. Incredible.
Jordan Bennington, ever since he got back from Four Nations, just killer.
That was the boost he needed to get back into everything. That I cannot exemplify enough how badly he needed that Four Nations to help him out, and ever since then he's been absolutely phenomenal this year. Because like the first half of the year was really bad.
Like, if there's no Four Nations, if he's not at Four Nations, they probably aren't on this run.
To be honest, yeah, Four Nations really boosted his confidence and really boosted his morale and the Blues' morale. Just to see them like with Bennington, it's been a huge help, a massive help for how they've been on this run. They are the favorite for me to make it. Again, like Calgary does have 3 games in hand, so does Vancouver, Utah as well. Like, I mean, we'll have to see how the rest of the season plays out. We might have a different opinion next week because there will be, again, a couple more games played. But overall, as of right now, I think this is where we stand. I think St. Louis is the team that I think is going to get it.
I think Calgary has a shot if they can. Like, Calgary's been playing better as of late. Like, they're on a 3-game winning streak right now. If they can keep winning, I think they can challenge St. Louis for that last spot.
I agree. I think that's very possible there. I think Calgary, like, of those teams that are below the playoff line, they have the best shot, in my opinion. I go with Utah number 2, and then Vancouver.
I don't think Vancouver is, like, I think they're so checked out. Like, they're so checked out.
If Utah keeps winning games, if they win tonight against Detroit, they're up there with Calgary. It's not impossible. I would love to see Utah in the playoffs. I'm actually rooting for it now. Like, really rooting for it.
I'm fine with any of these teams in the playoffs. I'm not going to lie. I do like all 4 of those teams. So,
yeah, I do want to say a little bit of a scoreboard update right now. Again, I know you guys are probably listening to this after this, but Utah is tied with Detroit. The Islanders and the Blue Jackets are tied with 5 minutes left in the third, and the Devils are beating the Canucks with about 4 minutes left in the third period. So, again, for Vancouver, does not bode very well for what's to come.
Okay.
So yeah. All right, that's all I got for St. Louis and all that. Is that all? You want to move into anything else?
It's all I got, actually. So,
all right, let's move into the news around the NHL. Again, not a ton. We're into that stage where we're going to see a lot of NCAA players get signed by teams, like the NCAA free agency is underway. Luke Hames signed a 2-year ELC with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was playing in Dartmouth this season.
Traitor!
What was that? yeah, traitor. He's from Ottawa.
Traitor.
Cameron Lund signed a 3-year ELC with the San Jose Sharks. Another player actually signed with Toronto too, John Prokop as well. He was playing in Union College. And then Gleb Varamayev signed with the Islanders as well. So some good NCAA players that weren't signed to contracts. There are a couple of the guys that are being explored, but yeah, you see with the season coming to a close in the OHL, the WHL, all that, and the NCAA for some of these colleges, you're going to see a lot of guys possibly get signed. As well as that, too, we heard that Jet Luchenko is on his way to Lehigh Valley. Okay. So that is a big thing there with the Flyers as well. Pat Maroon is going to retire at the end of the season.
Yes, he had a very emotional interview with Darren Pang before the game on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely was somebody who worked hard, worked throughout the league. I mean, he wasn't the most loved player in the NHL, but he played a long time, won 3 Stanley Cups. I think that just shows he won his time in the league, and I think it's time for him to move on to a new chapter.
Yeah, I really do think, especially for players who've won if they have their cup, I think it's a lot easier to walk away.
Agreed. I definitely think that's absolutely what's to be said there. But overall, just seeing Pat Maroon, like, he had a good career. He wasn't like a guy who scored a ton of goals. He wasn't a player who, would be the nicest. He would fight a lot, all that at the time of his career, but I always respected him. He was always a very, very respectable player, and I'm glad to see that he is going to move on to the next chapter of his life. Did you see the?
Sorry, can you name all the teams that Pat Maroon played for?
Chicago, Edmonton, St. Louis, Tampa Bay. Did he play for Carolina?
I don't think so.
Chicago, Toronto, Tampa Bay, St. Louis. I know he played for Edmonton. Oh, did he play for Vegas?
No. Do you remember where he started his career?
No, I don't.
All right, so he started his career. You have all of them except you're missing one. Actually, you're missing two or three. When did he play for that? Okay, no, I'm going to tell you this. We're going to be here forever. So,
didn't he play in Boston?
Yeah, he did. He played.
Yeah, he was in Minnesota too because he got traded for there for Tampa Bay.
Two. Where he started his career, and he played 17 games for this franchise.
Oh, Anaheim?
Yeah, started his career in Anaheim, and he got traded here from the Oilers in 2018.
Islanders?
No.
No, he didn't play for the Islanders. Devils?
Yeah, I totally forgot he was on the New Jersey Devils.
Oh my God. Let me look that up. He played for the Phantoms?
Yes, he did.
Oh wow. He played in the AHL for the Phantoms for a long time. Yeah, this is a guy who's been in the league for a while. Bounced around in the minor leagues as well. I mean, again, he was a player. He was drafted by the Flyers. He would have been a great Flyer if he actually stayed there. But yeah, again, 3 Stanley Cups in 2018-19, 19-20, and 2021. Did a lot of good things. Was never a high point scorer. Just good to see. Congratulations to him. Best wishes to him in retirement. He had a good career, a better career than a lot of people.
Yeah,
did.
I think if you won 3 Stanley Cups, I'll take that.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you see the fight between Swayman and Kemper?
I did. I saw how the refs no, that's not happening. Give the people every time it happens, they're always trying to step. Give the people what they want.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous. I'm a little bit annoyed about it. Did you see Zadorov's comment?
I don't what are you doing there? You're just. I think I'm gonna say this. I think Zadorov just beginning of the year he looked like he was gonna be a good leader for that locker room. Recently, though, he's always calling the team. He just seems like a big baby.
He seems like he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, and he just signed a 7-year deal.
Yeah, so good luck with that. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I literally would not be shocked at all if he gets traded in the offseason. I wouldn't be shocked. Honestly.
Who's going to do that contract, though?
We thought the same thing with Dubois, and look what happened.
Yeah, but Dubois is young. Zadorov is in his 30s.
That's true. You got a good point. How about the Sheldon Keefe quote with Jonathan Kovacevic? That's crazy. Look, I think Kovacevic was kind of just saying that. He said that the team needs a playoff mindset. He thought he was I think Friedman even said this. He probably thought he was saying the right thing, and then Keefe comes on there and is he just needs to play better. I'm like, oh. And
that was the last quote of the press conference too. It's he didn't let the guy finish his quote. He's like, well, Coach said you play. Oh, well, Coach said has to play better. That's the bottom line. And then he just walked off.
He said that and walked out too. That's insane. How about Kelly Sutherland falling and the puck bounces off of him and it goes to Steven Lorentz and they go down the other way?
Kelly, we know what you're doing. We know what you're doing.
That had to be. Imagine if that was the other way around. If that happened to the Avalanche in that game.
We wouldn't hear. We would still be hearing about it. We'd still be hearing.
The world would explode.
I mean, the ref technically is part of the play, so technically he didn't do anything wrong. And sometimes we lose an edge, we blow a tire.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not going on here to criticize Sutherland, but yeah, that was something that was brought up. One last thing, expansion.
Oh boy,
34 teams seems like the real possibility. It seems like the 2 cities that are likely going to be getting it is Houston and Atlanta.
Well, here's the thing: you're going to hear outrage up here in the Great White North about that. I I think Houston is justified. Houston's a market that has not been tested before. Houston's one of the biggest cities in the United States. I feel like Houston getting a team is fine by me. Atlanta is still, it's a big market. I get that. You've been there twice before. Under bad ownership, I'll give you that. It hasn't worked. And if they go back to Atlanta and it doesn't work, I don't want to see them go back ever again.
I agree. I think like this is the third and final try. This is the last straw, essentially. If this doesn't work out, they ain't going back to Atlanta.
But like they're
again.
putting it in the suburbs, which I kind of think is smarter because if you've been to Atlanta downtown is like there's no one there. It's hard to get. It's really hard to get into Atlanta downtown. Like the traffic in Atlanta is insane. Putting it.
Have you been to Atlanta?
I've been to Atlanta, yeah.
Oh, wow! Look at you. You've been everywhere.
If you put it in Forsyth County, which I think is a smart move. Yes, if you live in the Atlanta metro area, like in like downtown and around there, it might be hard to get to. There's no transit out there either. So, but you're putting it near where the Braves are. So I think it's a smart move.
It is, yeah. I mean, like, again, you see teams with that, like, you know, like the Flyers have one where it's like a sporting complex. All the arenas are within each other. I think putting the arenas close to each other is smart. Not having have people travel to a completely different area for one arena and then a completely different area for another arena. I think it's smart. Again, I do agree with you. Like, there's going to be a lot of outrage in Canada, especially about, like, you know, not giving another Canadian team a shot. I wonder, and again, I feel like we've had this conversation before. It would never happen, but, like, the Steve Dangle podcast was discussing, like, what if there was a second team that came to Toronto? But hear me out with this one.
Okay, I'll hear you out.
So, you know how the Leafs season tickets have been going up? And essentially, you know, like, it's become impossible for families to afford them, and it's all suits. Again, like, that's the joke we make on this podcast. The Steve Dangle podcast suggested, what if somebody with a lot of money came in, put another team in the Toronto or Ontario area, and made it a family environment team?
So you want to put the Islanders, like an Islander-style team, in Toronto?
Yeah, they would always be the Mets. They would always be the Islanders. But, like, it could show what Toronto could be if you made it like a family-type environment there.
I don't hate the idea. I just feel like you can't put it in Toronto, though. You have to put it in probably Hamilton.
Yeah, that would be what they would do.
Because there's no way. Because you're not going to convince the Leafs to split Scotia.
That would make traffic hell. That would make traffic a living hell.
So for Toronto, usually most people just like subway to the game. Is subway GO train to the game?
Yeah, but some people do drive, and that driving is
and finding parking downtown Toronto. Ooh, oh buddy.
Yeah, good luck.
But yeah, I don't hate that idea. I feel like, first of all, you have to talk about. I want to let you know when the Ottawa Senators came to Ottawa, the Leafs sued them for territorial rights. You didn't know that, did you?
I want to hear this story. No, I didn't know that.
When the Sens came in, the Leafs sued them because they said that's our territory. And eventually the judge is like, they're 5 hours away. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, if Ottawa had a team when Toronto was there before,
even Montreal. Montreal's closer to Ottawa than Toronto is, and they didn't sue.
Yeah,
here's the thing, though. Toronto. You put a team in their backyard, they're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
I feel like we see the same thing happen again. I think Toronto would claim territory. And I want to put an example. Formerly the Oakland Athletics, tried to get a stadium in San Jose. And the San Fran Giants said, no, that's our territory. And they couldn't do it. So the Leafs can just say one thing, boom, our territory.
True. I agree. I could see that. But
I want to put this very clearly, and I want to make this, like, here's the thing. I'm for another team coming in to Canada. I think even 8 is perfect. I want to say this. Yeah. I feel like if they're going to do it, it's going to be a Toronto team. And I want to see Quebec City come back so bad. I would love to see it, but I want to make this very clear. The market's not big enough. The market is crazed, yes. Not big enough. You're in Montreal's territory. I want to see it come back, but I've come to the point where it's like Quebec is never getting their team back.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I would love to see it, and if it happens, great. If it doesn't, oh well. And I love to see it happen. Like, I want to see more teams in Canada. I get you want to expand to different markets, but like, this is your bread and butter. Like, you can't tell me the Leafs and Habs and the Canucks together don't garner some of the best revenue in the league.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Overall, I believe that if a Canadian team were to come in, it would be in that area. I don't think we would see a team like in Saskatchewan or anything like that. Unfortunately,
Saskatchewan's smaller than Quebec City, I believe. So,
yeah. Quebec City just doesn't seem like a reality at this point, unfortunately. Yeah. Maybe in the future, but just like, I'm going to be honest, with how I don't want to make this politics, but with the Canada economy, I just don't know if I can see and that's saying like for Canada as a whole. I just don't know if I can see a team coming to Canada with how.
Yeah, but
right
you seem to think that the players get paid in American money. The revenue is in American money. I don't think that's really an issue. If the dollar was like where it was in the 90s, then we could have that conversation. But I feel like another team in Canada isn't going to hurt anybody. I feel like they get us to 8. I'm sick of up here we have Hockey Day in Canada, and someone always ends up playing like Boston or like Minnesota.
Yeah, they ain't Canadian. They're American. It would be cool doing a Hockey Day in Canada and have all the Canadian teams play.
Yeah, so you would have the Battle of Quebec, the Battle of Ontario, Battle of Alberta, and then Winnipeg, Vancouver.
Yeah, Battle of the West. I mean, actually, Alberta's between.
Yeah, they're between them. Yeah.
Minnesota. Anyways,
but yeah, I feel like we said, Houston makes sense. It'd be Battle of Texas.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
That would be fun.
That's an untapped market too. They have teams there, but it's an untapped market.
I do feel like there's teams there's markets in the States I feel like should get explored.
Kansas
City is one of them. Portland, Oregon, even Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I know it's very close to Chicago, but Milwaukee. I'm trying to think. There's another hole. There's a huge hole in the West. We saw Omaha, Nebraska express interest.
I could see that. I think we even said it it'd be more like a minor league team. Honestly, for Nebraska, it's just in the middle of nowhere.
New Orleans expressed interest, which for me that makes no sense.
Yeah, apparently they had a productive meeting about it. I mean, I get New Orleans. I like New Orleans better than Nebraska because Nebraska's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of the country. The closest city to it, I think, is either Colorado or Texas, and it ain't Colorado. It ain't that close.
I think it's Utah, actually.
No, Colorado.
Oh no, it's Colorado. Yeah, they border each other. Yeah, New Orleans to me makes no sense because they barely support the Pelicans. They love their Saints. They love their New Orleans Saints. But the arena they have right now for the Pelicans, which is the basketball team, it's run down. It's straight out of if we had bar rescue, but for sporting venues.
Oh yeah, I love bar rescue.
It would be like this. It would be like a arena rescue. They would be high on the list. I hate to break it to you. It'd be high on the list. But yeah,
agree.
I'm not for expansion right now. I feel like you need to wait another 5 years.
Well, I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think we're going to see it as soon as we're not going to see it next year because you can't play an expansion.
No, I feel like this is 4 to 6 years down the road.
Yeah, so I think we can see it back then, and with the cap blowing up,
eventually they're going to get to 36. I think I've come to that conclusion that they're going to get to 36, and then I think they're going to stop. Yeah,
and then I think they should stop. They're going into a completely untapped Like no other team in the NHL has that many teams.
No other sports league has more than 32 teams.
Yeah. Even like MLB, I think only has 30.
Yeah, NFL is 32, NHL is 32, basketball and baseball have 30. Just like I think it's because the expansion fee is so much money, and the NHL just profits off it.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, everybody talks about the competitive level. I think that you can manage it. I don't know about 36 freaking teams though. 34, I think I could see. 36, and then you're getting into a little conversation about playoffs too.
If you expand, you have to expand the playoffs. Like
yeah, you cannot keep the playoffs the same they are. I'm sorry, Bettman. You cannot keep the playoffs the same way they are if you're expanding. Do a play-in.
Yeah, I feel like if you have we have a 16 team playoff right now. Let's say if we get 36, that's 20 teams missing the playoffs.
Over half the league.
And sometimes look at baseball for years. Only the top teams make the playoffs for years. That's why baseball. That's why baseball postseason streaks were so long, because you need to be a top team. Like the Royals had a long 25-year playoff drought. The Blue Jays had a long 24-year playoff drought.
Didn't the White Sox?
The White Sox have made the playoffs 8 times.
Yeah, and how long have they been around?
A while. They've been around.
They missed the playoffs for 70 years in a row.
I think it was 40. It was 40 years.
Somebody went through almost an entire lifetime. Somebody went through a whole life sentence in prison, and they came back and the White Sox
40 to life. Y'all still have made the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. It's sad, to be honest, with the MLB the way things are. But again, you need to change. There's a lot of changes that need to come, and it's going to be a whole discussion, especially if they expand in the next couple of years.
They're going to do this, and then after this is done, Bettman's going to retire, and then whoever the new commissioner is going to deal with this.
Probably. That's probably what's going to happen. I don't know. It's going to be a big thing.
It's a huge question mark, because this isn't official yet. This hasn't been announced.
No.
This could be something. It could just be nothing, though.
It could. It very well could. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on this episode. That'll do it for the Northern Block podcast. LeBlanc, any final thoughts?
What's your favorite pizza topping?
What's my favorite pizza topping? I like plain, but pepperoni, I guess.
I'd make some good. Honestly, some green peppers. Green peppers and some onions. That might slap.
Yeah. My final thought. Happy birthday, Dad. I love you. All right, that'll do it for the Northern Block podcast. Yeah, Paul. Happy birthday, Paul. The GOAT. That'll do it for this episode of the Nordcast. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.
I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Man, I just do what I do. To know about you, I just do what I do. Check. That's the intro. See that? Yeah. I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Yo, check. Let me flip this script. I feel privileged for all who can witness this. I am close to divine. Know the moment is mine, need no omen or sign. Providing a back sound to all the squares that ask around. We getting it, my skills pay me. Trying to get a million, baby, with an adopted flow that God gave me. Tell whoever runners that they spot is temporary till I take it, it's mine. I'm selfish, your will. Tell Miss I'm on my wealth tip. So when we cash out soon, I'm just investing. Hey, no yes men, I've been a legend since before mom and dad had me and was best friends. I chew through comp, don't test them. I chew on tracks, cause after that I bless them. I just do what I do. You see me?